Does your child get confused with similar looking letters like B and D or P and Q? Do not confuse this with dyslexia, it's not. The child gets confused because any three-dimensional object when turned in different directions remains the same, but in the case of letters, it does not. They produce different sounds. This most commonly occurs between the letters B and D, P and Q, U and N, M and W. In this video, I'm going to be sharing some tips and tricks to help with this letter reversal problem and also some activities to reinforce it. So let's begin. Write the lowercase letters B and D and we have formed something that looks like a bed. B-E-D, B-E-D, bed. You can even draw a sleeping person on it. Now the circle of the B and D has to be inside the two lines. It cannot be outside. You can even use your fingers to create what would look like the letter B and even the letter D. This visual aid is very helpful for them to remember what the letter B and D looks like. You can use different hand gestures according to whatever is easier for your child. Even this looks like B and D. So this is B and D. And when you turn it upside down, it becomes P and Q. Now the child already knows that you start reading from the left hand side and B comes before D and P comes before Q. So these hand gestures help them to recognize what each of these letters looks like. This is another visual aid to recognize what P and Q look like. Now the child already knows that P comes before Q, but if we draw the line of P over here, it's going to cut the face. The same goes with Q. So P and Q look like this. Another trick to remembering is you write the capital B and D on a paper and the baby B is inside Mama B's belly and the baby D rides on the back of Daddy D. You can even use Play-Doh to reinforce this method. For the next visual aid, I have drawn a bat and a ball next to it. Both these words, bat and ball, begin with the letter B. B, bat, B, ball, and this forms the letter B. Always remember, the bat comes before the ball. The bat comes before the ball. For the next visual aid, I have just drawn two stick figures. Now B has a belly, belly, and D wears a diaper, diaper. And children love this one because it's silly and funny. Now write the letters in order: B, C, D. To write the D, start with a C. Also, B can see D and D can see B. Another way to remember is, where do we get honey from? Honey. From bees. Bees. Honey. Bees. So remember, honey comes from bees. Now let's move on to some fun games and activities. Make a cutout of the letter B, and the best part about this is you need to make just one cutout, because whichever way it is rotated, it will make a different letter. You can rotate this in different ways and ask the child to recognize the letter. For this, I have made a paper dice, and it's super simple. I have shown how to make the paper dice in one of my previous videos. You can find the link to that in the description box. Now you can write the different letters that the child is getting confused with, and make sure you put a dot below the letter so that if it's turned upside down, it doesn't get confusing. Now just roll the dice and ask the child to recognize the letter. That's it. I have drawn small rectangles on a piece of paper. You can draw any shape, and randomly written the 4 letters B, D, P and Q, and given them different color codes, like red is for B. So the child has to find all the B's and color them red. Then D, P and Q according to each color code. And that's it. If you liked this video and found it useful, do like and share it with others, and click the subscribe button and the bell icon to be the first to watch the latest video.